Hi, I'm boy Abunda, and welcome to TAT.
What do you want to say? That the government should be
Yeah. Talk is about talk that people are talking about, or what people should be talking about. On TAT, on Talk About Talk, I'm not alone. I am joined by tattlers, a bunch of young, vibrant, exciting, intelligent tattlers. And here they are, Clark, Gabby, and Sky.
Hi, Tito Boy. Hello
Hi
po.
po.
Hi, Tito Boy.
Right now, we are doing our first episode on TAT.
Right. And for the first episode, this is special because we're talking about you. So let me start. Tito Boy, on July 10th of this year, you posted on your Facebook account, and I quote, "I am an orphan again." You know, more than a month has passed since this statement of yours with regard to ABS-CBN franchise denial. Why were you silent?
I'm not really silent. I'm actually very vocal about my feelings about the death of ABS-CBN. People would say the king of talk is not talking. Well, the king right now has no home. The king is poor. He doesn't even have a shack. He has nowhere to live. He has become a pauper. And I'm serious. I don't have a platform. Had I been doing Tonight with Boy Abunda, or The Bottom Line with Boy Abunda, I would have had a space where I could have voiced out my opinions about the congressional hearings, about the decision, pero wala kasi akong spasyo. That's one of the reasons why I appeared to be quiet. Number two, when I am in grief, I am quiet. When I am in pain, I am quiet. I don't like being fussed over. Ayoko yung people paying so much attention to me. I like to be quiet. I like to think. It takes a while for me to be able to embrace that pain completely. Alam ko naman na medyo tagilid ang laban, pero iba yung karanasan on that day na sinabihang laid on the table. What does it mean? Somebody asked and then somebody said, kill. Pag sinabi mong patay, iba yung feeling. So I'm grieving and I'm usually quiet. Number three, the great Nelson Mandela once said this: don't enter the debate too early. Listen, I would say right now, we need to pace because this is going to be a long, long winter. But that is not tantamount to saying na hindi ako nasaktan. That's not tantamount to saying hindi ako nagalit. That's not tantamount to say na hindi ako umiyak dahil I did all of the above.
Ako naman, Tito Boy, I respect that na not comfortable with speaking out at the time of grief. But would you say po na it's valid that people are criticizing you and other celebrities who choose to not speak out during the time nga that the franchise of ABS-CBN was not renewed?
That's a valid criticism. But as I was saying, iba-iba tayo ng expression of grief. And if your definition of the expression of grief is it has to be expressed within a certain period of time, I will disagree. As I said on my third point, this is going to be a long, long winter. We have to be able to sustain the narrative. We have to be able to continue telling the story. Others speak out early on. Others will have to do it at a certain time. But to your question, Gabby, yes, it is valid. It is valid. But is it valid to judge others who choose not to? That's an entirely different level.
Ito may follow-up ako kasi di ba si Angel Locsin very, very active nung nagkakaroon ng legislative franchise hearing regarding ABS-CBN. What is your reaction to the outcry of Miss Angel Locsin?
I don't think even when people talk about people being silent, I don't feel na ako'y pinatatamaan. I don't have that sense. I love the girl. I admire her. If Angel Locsin were to run for public office, if she were to run for Senate, I would campaign and I would vote for her. Ganun kalalim ang paniniwala at respeto ko kay Angel Locsin. Dahil I don't think Angel has to be viewed simply on that rant, on that stage one night during the noise barrage. What did I hear from Angel there? I heard a young woman who was frustrated, who was exasperated, who was even angry. What was admirable about it, para sa akin, is she went for the jugular. It wasn't safe. She went for the risque. She didn't play it safe. But was she contentious? Yes. Was she imposing her style of grieving on others? Maybe. But was that the intent? I don't know. What I know is that Angel Locsin has her heart in the right place. I just have a very short story. I think more than 10 years ago. May bagyo na dumating sa Eastern Samar. I was doing relief operations. Nakahiram ako ng isang covered court near our village. So we had goods, we were on the floor, nagpapack kami ng goods. Midnight, I just remember the story now. Midnight, a young lady comes in, sits down dun sa basketball court, starts to help packing the goods. That was Angel Locsin. Ang puso ng batang yan ay nasa tamang lugar.
Now, Tito Boy, this is a new platform for you. What do you want to say now with regard to the denial of the franchise?
May mga pagkakataon na nasisilip ko, halimbawa, ang congressional hearings. And there was not an instance na ako'y natakot that we were going to lose. I always thought we had a fighting chance. So sobrang sakit. Sa akin, ang aking opinion, this is the height of injustice. I don't think ABS-CBN should have been closed. It's very, very personal. I have been with ABS for 21 years, and this is not to diminish the truth that I started with GMA 7. Parati kong sinasabi, I learned how to walk. In GMA 7, I learned how to fly pagdating ko sa ABS-CBN.
Pero Tito Boy, diba, 21 years na kayo sa ABS-CBN, and sabi sa mga hearing dun sa ilang mga in-invite ng committee, nagkakaroon daw ng abuses sa loob ng management. Kayo, for 21 years, meron ba kayo na-experience na abuses na sa management ng ABS-CBN?
Alam mo, Clark, I've been doing shows for 21 years without a break. Wala akong naranasan. I have no experience that I have been asked by my bosses or immediate superiors in ABS-CBN as to who I should be interviewing, as to how I should be asking my questions. Never. In my 21 years. Abuses, sinabi naman, Clark, during the hearings ng mga bosses natin sa ABS-CBN, di naman na dininay, may mga problema kami. We're not perfect. We have flaws, just like all other companies. I remember one of the statements of Carlo Catibak, our president. Naalala ko, yung kanyang sinabi na, we will continue to listen. I think that was his opening statement. Sabi niya doon sa Kongreso, we will continue to listen to you. We will take actions. Meaning, kung meron kaming pagkakamali, ay ayusin namin. Kung kinakailangan yung i-monitor, yun ang pagkakaunawa ko, i-monitor nyo kami because we're willing to correct, we're willing to improve. We will take actions to be a better company.
Kasi I feel that it's very personal now, but do you feel that the government should be held accountable for the closure of ABS-CBN and that it was a result of partisan politics yung pagsasara?
I am sharing with you a personal opinion na mali yung desisyon na pagsasara, nasaktan ako, personal itong aking opinion, mali ang inyong reading, ang inyong appreciation ng lahat ng inilatag na mga bagay-bagay sa Kongreso. Should the government be held liable in the context of what? I don't know. But I am saying, mali yung desisyon. Kasi, this is what democracy is all about. 70 ang bumoto. 70 people voted against the renewal of the franchise of ABS-CBN. 11 voted, 2, and then 1. Nakita natin the way it voted. So, was that partisan? Was that a party vote? My opinion, yes. It was.
Ako, Tito Boy, feeling ko, based on the conscience talaga ng mga legislators natin, hindi naman yung sabi ni Speaker, vote by your conscience. So, merong ilang mga party na, for example, si Congressman Recto, Vilma Santos Recto, sa amin sa Batangas, member siya ng isang partido, pero iba yung boto ng partido niya, karamihan, kaysa sa kanya mismo. So, base ito sa konsensya ng mga legislators at hindi dahil sa ito ang dikta ng partido?
Ako naman, Tito Boy, ibalik ko lang. No, the President Duterte has been very vocal since last year na hindi niya ibibigay ang franchise ng ABS-CBN. So sa tingin niyo po ba displayed sa nangyaring proseso ng
it's very difficult to speculate. I think so. I mean, some people, even if the president didn't ask for the vote, some people were there to please the president. Pero maalala natin, let's be fair, no? After the president was very vocal about his feelings towards ABS, President of ABS-CBN Carlo Katigbak apologized. Lumampot ang presidente. Sabi niya, okay na yon. Tapos sa pag-usapan nga, yung bayad na hindi na tinanggap, hindi na naibalik, I think it was going to be donated to some place. So parang ako, as a citizen of this country and as someone who worked for the network, ang tingin ko ay parang lumabot na ang presidente sa ABS-CBN. And I saw that. I believe that.
Let's talk about, Tito Boy, the repercussions of the closing or the closure of ABS-CBN. Sa tingin niyo po, ano ang epekto nito ngayon sa environment ng industry natin? Paano ito makakaapekto sa mga susunod na araw sa entertainment and news industry?
Let me go to something personal because we're talking about the entertainment ecosystem. Ako personal ito kasi I lost the job that I passionately love. Buhay ko to eh. But this pain is real. The other day, I spoke to one of our young writers, si Jenica. Sabi niya sa akin, Tito Boy, me and my fiancé are moving out of our small condo in Panay. Lilipat kami sa Plaridel, Bulacan kasi we cannot afford anymore the rent. Amboy Erwin, one of our best producers for all the talk shows that I've done, is now cooking seafood. People are crying. People are lost. This pain is real. I'm not talking about data. I'm not talking about statistics. I'm talking about real people who are suffering, who are in pain, who don't know what to do. And you've heard about a story of Marvy, who died when she got a letter and the confirmation that she was terminated and she lost her job. So, pag pinag-uusapan ang pagsasara ng ABS-CBN, this is something that is real. This is a pain that I feel, not just my pain, but the pain of people who I've worked with for years, for decades. So yun yung buhay. Yun yung buhay ng nagluluksa. Nanay passed on December 1 of 2019. In the evening of December 1 of 2019, I was on air. I was working. Ganun ko kamahal ang trabahong ito. You can imagine what it means to lose this job.
I'm also a part of ABS-CBN, and I was also a witness to so many people losing their jobs, being told that from August 31, you have to be let go. And I have also workmates who are saying na paano na, I'm already old, I don't have any more alternatives. I personally also will be losing my job because of the closure. And as much as ako, I feel the pain also, I think like gusto ko lang talagang i-point out is I also want the pain to translate into something, into anger, into action, because parang as much as it's very personal nga, I feel like it's the closure of ABS-CBN is something that could have really been avoided. And especially during this time.
I hear you, Gab. Clark may want to say something.
Yeah. Well, I understand kasi syempre mga kaibigan ko rin sa ABS-CBN. Pero, Tito Boy, what would have you done differently kung sakali man?
Clark, to answer your question, I wouldn't have done anything differently insofar as our bosses were concerned. I felt they did the best they could. They were diligent in their research. They would attend the hearings. And most of all, they brought along with them a lot of humility. Dadagdag lang siguro ako. You know what I would have done? I would have identified it as a political problem that needed a political solution. What do I mean by this? Habang naghihearing ako, siguro inisa-isa ko na lahat yung membro ng ex-officio members of Congress, lahat ng members ng both committees, Committee on Legislative Franchises and Good Government and Public Accountability, lahat ng members noon, I would have begged anybody, and I still am begging to this very moment. I'm begging the president, I'm begging anybody and anybody who has the power to bring back ABS-CBN to life. That's what I have done, Clark.
Okay, Tito Boy. Kasi balik tayo dun sa mga kongresista. Sabi nyo, magbe-beg kayo and gagawin nyo lahat. Sa social media ngayon, di ba? You hosted the debut of one of the daughters of Congressman Mike Defensor. And I believe you have personal relationship with him. And two other congressmen na nandoon sa mismong komite. Paano mo ma-reconcile yung relationship mo with them? Nagalit ka ba sa kanila?
Yes, Mike Defensor is a friend of mine. Asieda Romualdez and Martin Romualdez are friends of mine who also voted against. And there were others who I know are not very close friends, but who voted against ABS-CBN. There were some surprise people who voted for ABS-CBN. I totally dissent. I passionately oppose his stand. I was deeply hurt by his vote. And to this very moment, I grieve. But I can live with differing opinions. You know, I have a lot of friends, Clark, who don't believe in same-sex marriage. But is that tantamount to, I'm not going to talk to you forever because you don't believe in the causes I believe in? Hindi ako ganun. Because of the ABS-CBN issue, hindi naman pwedeng hindi ko na kaibigan si Mike o si Yeda o kaya si Martin. Hindi naman pwede. But does it diminish the pain that I feel? No, I'm still in pain. And I want them to know. I remember because I got a call from Jude, kasama natin sa Tingog, because I campaigned for Tingog, the party list of Yeda, Romualdez, and Martin sa Region 8. Yan ba isasantabi ko dahil hindi kami nag-agree dito sa pagboto sa ABS-CBN? I want them to know, and I told them because I got a call before the voting, and I appreciated the respect. I totally appreciated the call of Jude to say, Sir Boy, I don't know how he calls me, you know, the vote of Congresswoman and Congressman, I totally appreciated that. But I was hurt. I want them to know I'm hurt. And I will move beyond this pain, but I am hurt. I'm hurt. I lost the job. But I cannot unfriend a friend simply because you think differently from me. This is not going to stop me also from loving the wife, Julie, who I love. I mean, the kids. Mikey, who is against the father's stand. Miguel, Miko, Mika, Juliana. I mean, these are kids of Mike. Na mahal ko. You know, I cannot be deprived of that simply because I am opposed to the stand of the father.
But would you endorse them again, knowing that they voted no for the renewal of the franchise?
The answer to that is, I don't know. Hindi ko alam. I look forward to a quiet conversation with Mike, with my friends who voted against ABS-CBN. I'd like to have quiet conversations. I'd like to understand where they were coming from. I'd like to hear them out. And I'd like them to hear my story. After all, we're friends.
I want to hear from Clark since he works for Congressman Romualdez. How did they come up with their decision?
Ako, I cannot speak for them kasi 'di ba, hindi naman ako sila. Sa tingin ko, lahat kinonsider Lahat ng violations, kung meron man, ang lahat pati citizenship ni Sir Gabby, lahat ng kung sakali mang maapektuhan pati ekonomiya ng buong bansa, lahat ito kinonsider And dun sa ginawang TWG report, lahat ito pinag-aralan Merong basahan kung bakit na-reject ang ABS-CBN. At merong dahilan kung bakit nangyari na ipinasara ang ABS-CBN. Pero hindi ko sinasabi na tama ang ginawa nila. Hindi rin ko sinasabi na hindi binaliwala nila ang 11,000 workers. Ang sinabi ko lang, merong pinagbasihan ng ating mga kongresista dun sa pag-reject yung renewal ng franchise law.
Am I right to understand that what you're trying to say is it was a conscience vote? It was a responsible vote.
Yes.
Hindi katulad ng pananaw namin na it was a party vote.
Well, I cannot speak for the congressman, pero sa tingin ko base ito dun sa TWG report at sa lahat ng committee hearing na nandun kami, nakinig, at doon nila binasa ang kanilang boto at hindi dahil sa partisan vote.
Maraming salamat, Clark. Now, going back to Tito Boy. Tito Boy, I want to know, what's now next for you? Any offers from other channels?
I will consider working for another channel after December 31 of 2020. I want to be able to, sa nangyayari din, I am vulnerable, you guys are vulnerable. I'd like to be able to rest. I'd like to be able to cry. I'd like to be able to grieve. Hindi nga ako nag-grieve kinanay masyado, namatay pang ABS-CBN. So this is my opportunity to ruminate, to examine, to meditate, to think. I'd like to be a better person after this episode in my life.
Speaking lang po of kasi being more maingat and being unsettled, naalala ko lang po kasi during the hearings, they mentioned one of your lines po which was parang how you talk about sex or chocolates, and it was parang immoral and hindi magandang example to the Filipinos watching. So moving forward po ba, will you start to be more maingat in mentioning those kinds of things?
This is what I'll tell you. With humility. Nung napag-usapan yan sa Kongreso, tinamaan ako. Nag-isip talaga ako. When I saw the replay of that particular speech of Bishop Abante, nag-isip ako, sabi ko, am I weakening the value system and the moral economy of this country? Pinag-isipan ko siya ng mabuti. And my answer is no. After serious thinking, no, I am not. Why? Because I am within my space. I come on air after 11, close to midnight. I am on parental guidance. And I want people to know that if you are irritated, that if you are not comfortable watching us, you can switch to another channel or you can switch off.
Right.
That's my whole point. But I want Bishop Abante to know that I took it to heart, that I listened, I examined.
Now, I want to ask, last question, Tito Boy. Papasok ka ba sa politics?
Right now, if you ask me, the answer is no. Will I change my mind? Maybe, I don't know. But a public office outside of an elective post is more possible para sa akin.
Tito Boy, just to wrap things up, I'll just ask their final statements. Let me start with Gabby and then Clark.
Natuwa ako kasi ang dami kong natutunan about, being introspective and really how to deal with this time that is so different. But I also feel that ako personally is really not the time to play safe, which is why I love these kinds of platform na you're starting on, Tito Boy, kasi we need to do something and we need to not be afraid because there are now lives on the line. There are people who need people to speak.
Sa akin naman, ang ganda nitong platform kasi nalaman ko firsthand yung epekto nung pagsasara ng ABS-CBN. Kasi minsan sa office ang nangyayari lang, naririnig lang namin yung tanggalan na daw, ng ganito. Pero nung narinig ko yung opinion o yung sinabi ni Tito Boy kanina at ikaw, Gabi, kung paano kayo firsthand na talagang nawalan ng trabaho dahil sa pagsasara ng ABS-CBN, masakit na ganun yung nangyari. Na sana nangyari na lang reforma, di ba? Hindi talaga totally pinatay, pero nagkaroon na lang ng pagkakataon na magkaroon ng reforma.
Ako naman, I just want to say that we're really living in very dark times, no? Kaliwat kanan, injustices, abuses happening. And this kind of platform and platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, where we are able to discuss certain issues in our society, ipagpatuloy natin. Let's make use of these platforms to proliferate change that we want.
Maraming salamat. Natutuwa ako dahil ang dami kong natututunan sa inyo. Yung point of view nyo, kahit yung discourse nyo about expressing your opinions on various platforms, bago sa akin ito dahil sabi ko nga hindi naman ako social media player. That's why I'm excited because I'm getting into a place that is uncertain. When I go to Twitter, nalulungkot ako dahil sobra ang lingwahe. It has become so vitriolic. Pero ito lamang, napakaingay. It's so noisy out there. Choose your noise. Choose your noise. It's within your power to choose your noise. May mga nagsasabi na, hindi na panahon nito, boy, para magpaka-humble, magpakumbaba, lumaban na, sumigaw na, etc. Ginagalang ko yun. Pero ako ang choice ko, I'm a very tactical person. Binabalikan ko parati si Mandela pag sinasabi niyang, what is it that you want in the end and what is the best way to get there? Ako'y pagpapatuloy ko ang pagpapakumbaba. Makikiusap ako. I continue to beg anybody and everybody who has the power to bring ABS-CBN back to life. I am not a spokesperson of ABS. This is again personal. And I will do it with humility. Hindi po ako makikipag-away, basta makikiusap lamang po ako. Kung sino ho kayo na makakapagbigay buhay muli sa ABS-CBN, ako'y naninikluhod. I will continue to beg. Even if some people disagree with this point of civility, kasi tama na, etc., I respect that. Kanya-kanya tayo ng boses. I think that's building on what Sky earlier said. I also wanted to talk about silence, lalo na kanina nung tinanong niyo ako tungkol kay Angel Locsin. But this is not related to her. I'd like to dissociate this discussion about silence as I close our first episode. Doon sa silence is not an option. Meron ngayon sa CNN, si Don Lemon. This is in the context, a man of Black Lives Matter. Silence is not an option. I agree. Kasi nung sinabi naman talaga ito ni Martin Luther King, it was, the civil rights movement. Ito yung panahon ng Jim Crow laws, kung hindi po ako nagkakamali. Equal but separate. Ito yung kapanahunan nila Rosa Parks. And silence is not an option pag ang pinag-uusapan ay racial discrimination. But let us not forget that silence can also be a weapon. You know why? Because when you are silent, you can rattle your enemy. You can unsettle your enemy. Hindi naman pwedeng sabihin mo lahat ang gagawin mo, especially when you are in the battlefield. There are certain moments when you have to keep quiet. There are moments, but don't get lost. Know your core, know what you feel, and know how to express it. I may be judicious, I may be circumspect, I may be cautious, not because I don't want to fight back. I am careful because I want to win. In anything that I do. Right now, amidst pain, I remain hopeful. I remain hopeful. So thank you. Maraming salamat. I'm looking forward again to tattling with you more about anything and everything. Thank you, guys. I will see you soon.